Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Kurt Berglund's Baseball World. You know, I get two questions all the time that people email me or leave in comments below my YouTube videos. The first question is, Kurt, what is your favorite magazine? And the second question is, how do you set up a King of the Hill tournament? You know, King of the Hill tournaments have become a regular feature and maybe the most popular thing that I do on my channel. But I don't often spend a lot of time talking about how I set up the tournament and offering you some things to think about if you're thinking about setting up a King of the Hill tournament for yourself on your own tabletop. That's the purpose of today's video, to go through how I set it up and to give you some things to think about in terms of structure and maybe some challenges that you might have, that you might face, that I've already dealt with as you go along. So let's get started on learning about the King of the Hill tournament. Now, there are a ton of ways to set up a King of the Hill tournament that could be excellent ways to do it. I'm going to show you how my system, and then I'd love it if you would indicate in the comments tweaks that you would make to design your own system. It would give me more to think about, and it would give everyone watching the video some things to think about. The first thing that I do, these are the key questions that you have to answer. The first question is, how many teams are you going to have in your King of the Hill tournament? Obviously, the more teams you have, the more games that you're going to play. You need to also decide how many wins will get a team to qualify for the World Series. My magic number has been 10. But you could pick 5, you could pick 3 if you wanted to. You could pick any number you wanted. What I did here was I set up a sort of a system here of 10 teams. Again, you can pick more or less. I lettered the teams A through J for each of the 10. And then what I do when I do a King of the Hill tournament is I do a very simple random draw. So team A is the first team I draw. I write that in on the line and so on until I fill all 10 lines. The next key question is, how many wins are going to make the World Series? You got to decide that ahead of time because it's going to affect how you manage. And then the third question is, what will the World Series look like? Are you going to do a best of 3, a best of 5, a best of 7, a best of 9? Or are you just going to do a best of 1? The last 2 teams play it off, and it's just a one-game winner-take-all system. You could do that as well. So what I do when I come back here then is the first team becomes the King of the Hill. The King of the Hill at any given moment is the home team. So this letter A team gets to be the home team, and it hosts team B. So these two teams face off. Team A is the home team. Team B is the visiting team. Now, whoever wins this game becomes, or remains in the case of Team A, the King of the Hill. And they will host Team C. So Team C becomes the visitor. The King of the Hill is the home team, whether that's Team A or Team B. And you just keep going down the line. Let's say Team B wins this first game. Let's say Team B defeats Team A. Team B becomes the King of the Hill. Team C is the visitor. Team B is the home team. Whoever wins this game then hosts Team D. Team D becomes the visitor. And let's say Team C wins. Team C is the King of the Hill. Therefore, Team C is the new home team. And it goes like that right down the line. You just cycle through until you get this last game done against Team J. Then it goes back to the top. Team A will become the visiting team against whoever the king of the hill is from down here, and you just proceed with another round. When I do around 10 to 14 teams, I need around 60 to 70 games to complete it. That's been my pace. If I do a 10-game victory or World Series qualification. So then I keep track of how many games are won by each team. I don't care about losses. I don't need to mess with losses because why? The only thing that matters is how many wins have you got, and as teams accumulate wins, I just make tally marks, and as soon as we get to 10, that first team to X wins, in this case 10, gets World Series home field advantage. So what happens then? Let's say it's Team A. Team A gets to 10 wins. Now I pull Team A out of the mix. They are on the sideline, and I just go through the rotation now with the last 9 teams. Why do I do that? Well, because I don't want a team that's already clinched to be part of the remaining fight for the second team to be in the World Series. So I just pull them out. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should leave them in. You can let me know what you think about that. But I remove the first team and then just keep going with the teams that are left. In terms of particulars, I do a 4-man rotation. I try to go, but I don't always go, for the rotation in order of most starts for that team in that season. The number 1 starter is the starter with the most starts in that season for that team. I don't use injuries. I did at the start, but it got unwieldy. And so injuries don't work in this format. So what'll happen is you got your 4-man rotation. Let's say Team A is the New York Yankees of 1977. All right. And let's say for the sake of argument that I use Ron Guidry as the number 1 starter. I'm just pulling this off the top of my head. And he won his game, and then Ed Figueroa comes along in game 2, and he loses. Now, they've got to wait until this whole rotation goes around again. But the third starter, let's say it's Catfish Hunter, gets the next start. Even though there's a lot of games that have taken place after Team A lost here, these aren't days off for these guys. I keep the rotation going. Now, how do I do that? Well, the cards for the team, I just keep those in order. So Ron Guidry starts the game, he goes to the back of the starting rotation. Figueroa's next, he goes to the back of the rotation. Now Hunter's at the top of the stack, so I've got him, and I don't have to fumble through all my score sheets to figure out who's pitched and who hasn't because it's in my stack. I just move it to the next guy, and it works out very nicely that way. Once you decide, so you get your first team to the World Series, whoever gets to 10 or whatever amount of wins you want, first, they get the home field advantage. The second team is the other team in the World Series. You shouldn't have any ties because of the structure of the King of the Hill. Someone's going to be the second team to get in, and they will be your other World Series team. You follow your World Series structure, however that looks. 1 game winner take all, best of 3, best of 5, best of 9 if you want. You can set it up any way you want, and you just go for it from there. And the team that wins the World Series becomes the final king of the hill for your tournament. That's it. It's a very simple structure. Even I can do it. So I hope this has provoked some thought for you, given you some things to think about, and hopefully if you've had questions as you've watched my King of the Hill tournament, and you say, well, why is that happening? Why is he doing that? This video may have answered those questions for you. If you have additional questions about King of the Hill, please, please, please put them in the comments below this video, and I will be sure to get, or you can email me at berglund.kurt@yahoo.com, and I'll be happy to reply to your email as well. This is my King of the Hill tournament structure. Hope you've liked it, and I hope you have a good evening. It's time to roll some dice. Break out those dice and get some games in tonight. Have a good evening. So long, everybody.